Hi YouTubers, welcome to one of my videos. Now you should all be familiar with extension leads like this. This is quite filthy if you live in a house to run things from. Or extension leads like this. But would you run a fridge, a battery charger, a kettle, a toaster, a water heater, hairdryer, lighting and all sorts of other kit from one extension lead? Well, you could, but you're going to get fuse blowing and get tripping and all sorts of things. So if you won't or not going to run stuff or shouldn't from one of those extension leads, why on earth do you do it on your motorhome or caravan or even in a tent? Because you're just asking for trouble to run that amount of electrical appliances from one lead. And that's exactly what people do when they hook up their motorhome or caravan. Soon as you plug it in, a lot of people forget the first thing that happens is when you connect it to a power source, either a house or a camping field hookup, is you power the fridge. That's the first thing, that gets power from the lead. Second is the water heater. Third, which is taking power, which you don't realise, is the leisure battery charger. So there's three items there that you're taking power immediately you plug in on most vans. Now you arrive on your site, you plug in and you've got all those things. So your fridge is starting to work, it's recharging your battery to put any charge back in that you took out, and then you want to have a cup of tea. So you plug your kettle in and you might get some toast, you might have the lights on in the van, and all of a sudden the trips go and it all goes off. So what I'm trying to do with this video is to encourage people to think more about what they're switching on in the van, and hopefully it eliminates some of these triggering and tripping out and fuses blowing. Now what I'm going to go over first is some very basics. I've just got some paper down here. Okay, if you plug your caravan motorhome into a single 13 amp socket in a house, like you're visiting a relative, you're limited by that one plug or extension lead like you would on anything else. Now you can work out the wattage. Now the UK socket is capable of giving 13 amps at 230 volt. Now by using a simple formula, watts equals amps times volts. So 230 volt times 13 amps gives you 2,990 watts. So you're okay with that so far? That should be fairly straightforward. Now apply the same principle to your hookup on a camping site using your normal lead with no adapters. Again, it's 230 volt, 240 volt, and it's 16 amp. So that gives you a maximum wattage of 3,680. So that gives you 2 wattages. So when you get fuse blown and things, you could just sit down and write down what appliances you have on and add up all the wattages, and this will give you an indication if you're overloading the system. Now what I've done, I've took some appliances that you'd normally find in a home and checked the power rating. So for example, if you've got a hairdryer, it's about 2,000 watts. So just running the hairdryer in your van, if it's a 2,000 watt, you're not far off the limit if you're connected to a house. A fridge generally is between 100 to 200 watts. A toaster, 1,800. a kettle 2200. Your lighting is between 12 to 50 watt per light. Your battery charger, if your battery's flat, it can take 250 watts. Then you've got a TV, laptop, tablet, radio, water heater, and whatever else you've got plugged in. Now, a lot of people, when they buy a motorhome or a caravan for the first time, because they've spent a fair bit of money on the van, they'll take electrical appliances from their house, and like the hairdryer, the kettle, the toaster, TV and things like that. But they don't realise that the best way of approaching it is to buy a low power kettle. You can get them at 700 watts. You can get toasters at 700 watts, specifically for caravans. And they're not expensive. And yes, they do take longer to work. A kettle will take longer to boil the water. A toaster will take longer to do the toast. But what it means is you're less likely to pop your fuses or your trips if you forget and put your kettle, your fridge, your toaster and battery charger and everything on at one go. You're going to exceed these wattages. What we do in the van, we have a low power kettle and we've got a low power toaster, so we can have those on together. We can also have a towel rail on in the van, the battery charge and lights without tripping. However, we have found that if we put anything else on, if we put a hairdryer on, it will trip. So what we do is, if we want to use a hairdryer and the kettle's on, we just switch the kettle off to dry our hair. Or if we want a load of other things off, we switch the heating off, the electric heater, while we put the kettle on. But it's just spend some time and just think about what you've got and how much power it consumes and what are you likely to have on at one go. But people forget the fridge. People forget the fridge takes power. The immersion heater in your caravan takes power when it's on. And as I say, as soon as you arrive at a site, the first thing you're doing is switching all this stuff on. Now, if you're at the limit near the wattage for whether it's hookup or plugged in the mains at home, you may find just switching a small thing on, like for example, you plug your TV in and all the power goes off. The first thing you think of is, oh, the television's faulty. But it's not. It might be, but it's not. It's just the fact you've just gone over that maximum power. It could be you switch your toaster on or a light and all the power goes off. It doesn't mean to say those appliances are faulty. It could mean you're very close to these maximum wattage levels. So hopefully this is making sense. So if you're at home, you wouldn't think of plugging everything onto your extension lead in your house without asking for trouble. So similar with a van. All it is an extension lead with one plug on it. You're not actually permanently connected. So this is why things happen. Now, I hope I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, as the expression goes, but this really applies to the UK. They have different power wattages in different countries and stuff. But don't overload your power, because you'll forever going under your bed trying to find the trips, or you'll be putting fuses in or going to the campsite and saying I've tripped the power off for the site. You can do that as well if you're not careful. So thanks for watching. Comments welcome. And any comments, positive or negative, regarding this video, but I think it's worth mentioning all of this. So thanks for watching.